Howdy, welcome. So, in this section, I'm going to be discussing and demonstrating what static analysis looks like. And when we're talking about static analysis, we're usually referring to analyzing the malware when it's stationary. So, we haven't ran it, we haven't detonated it, and that usually traverses into dynamic analysis, where we're letting the malware run. We're checking where it's going to communicate to, right? And with static, you could usually identify and get an idea of what the malware is going to do in a couple ways. The first is we're going to be looking at the strings. Now, before that, I want to show you how to get the malware sample that I have here. Alright. Let's just go ahead and name. Let's do properties real quick. Alright, we'll go to Malware Bazaar here. Malware Bazaar database. Confirm I'm not a robot. Go ahead and verify. And so what I'm going to do is everything has to be in lowercase here. So SHA-256 and search. And there's a sample. Right. The password and Malware Bazaar will show it. One sec. It'll be download sample and password is infected. I already have it here, so we're not going to. So I'm not going to download it again. Now, if you're just a regular analyst, most of the time you will be referencing VirusTotal. So VirusTotal.com, right? You can choose a file, throw it into. Good. Confirm upload. I'm not a robot, and unless I didn't select all for some. Oh no, I missed one. Interesting. Go ahead and fix that real quick here. Choose file. And VirusTotal will check and conduct its own analysis. Right, and already flags, literally, it's already fired off from numerous security vendors as well. VirusTotal is a sandbox. So we can also do this for another sandbox card hybrid analysis, which uses CrowdStrike's Falcon Sandbox. You can upload file, but virus in most cases you are referencing cross-referencing with VirusTotal. Now, let's just say this never happened. Well, alright, we're going to open the file with 7-zip. Let's choose another app. Let's go ahead at 7-zip file, open file location. I just got to move it over here real quick. Okay. Open with choose another app. Choose an app on PC. Desktop, 7-zip file manager, and then we'll just go ahead and click always. I'm going to extract the sample here, affected, and now we're going to I'm going to show you a couple tools that I use. And in this case, we'll go ahead and we're going to use Malcat here. And Malcat, go ahead and run it. File, open file. Let's go ahead and open. Actually, I'll need to rename it real quick first, so that when I do the other stuff, Reton. I do use the professional version because with the full version you'll have, I think it's $70 US, or maybe $60 for 5 licenses. It is still in beta, but Malcat is an excellent tool and the one I will recommend. Already flagged. So now, how Malcat works? What Malcat does is that it has a set of preset YAR signatures that it'll fire off when it is analyzing the malware sample. Right. You also have another tool that I'm going to be demonstrating, but simply put, right, it has rules that will fire off. So in this case, we see that for this current malware sample, it is also some signatures have fired off that this steals browser. This goes into browsers and possibly steals crypto, right, or any kind of information that it wants, right. In this case, it does seem like it is looking for money or something. In addition, it also has keylogger functionalities, and what keyloggers do is that they record your keystrokes, which then all that information will send over to the attacker that has infected your computer with this type of malware. In addition, it has some anti-defensive, anti-analysis functionality. So where you'll see that in the rules, we'll see this in the strings, where it will check if it is in a sandbox environment or virtual machine. And why attackers don't, because attackers don't want us analyzing the malware or what they're going to do, because they're trying to evade detection as much as possible, and to continue to affect your computer. Because simply put, when we'll do any kind of dynamic analysis here, what's going to happen is that we won't be able to see the malware's full functionalities. In addition, there are some odd information here where there is some processes around auto keys, so running Moron's keys, as well as scheduled tasks. And we'll go ahead and look at the strings here. And already, Malcat, once again, has some danger. It has sort of a danger score. So public IP. So what this string right here that we're seeing, it was pretty obvious to me that what this type of rat, or actually any kind of rat at this point, it wants to gather information about the computer. And so it'll ensure that you have network connection. Oh, speaking of which, I need to turn off my Wi-Fi here, which I didn't do. Yeah, I set the host only. My bad. But just general rule, you need to turn off your, before you do any kind of malware analysis, you make sure that you set it to host only so that there's no Wi-Fi connection here. In fact, I'll go ahead and test it real quick. Cute pictures of dog. We'll just do that. Because it's more fun that way. And of course, we don't have any internet connection. Okay, good. So there are some, again, auto-run keys right here. So in this case, common, what is common around persistence. So basically, maintaining access to the environment is the registry. In this case, run on more on keys. All right, this is pretty common in lots of malwares. Some will essentially maintain persistence or establish persistence. So keep maintaining initial foothold through scheduled tasks as well. So this is it's not something that's new to malware. Once you've looked at over 20-30 samples, you'll start to see a pattern, as well as there is some downloads to HTTP, as well as DNS by into strings. And DNS by is a .NET decompiler or disassembler, because it allows us to look into the malware a little bit further. But for you probably don't want to spend so much time on disassembly. It's not the best use of your time, in my opinion, at least. As well as VMware tool, so it's checking that it's in a sandbox environment, as well as it again identifies what is gathering information about your environment. In addition, disabling anti-spyware, that's another one, and ransomware. And when I first looked at the sample, given that ransomware was in the strings, it probably came to mind that there's probably a ransomware operation going on, or this is being used for a ransomware operation. But that being said, I'm not sure. And Electrum is crypto, right? So crypto wallet stealer, as well as sandbox, and set debug privilege. And so at this point, I know it's malware, but if this was something that showed up and I looked at it, yeah, this is probably malware as well, because it's designed to steal crypto, as well as disable your antivirus and doing any kind of something to really stay in your environment, or get access to your environment, right? So at which point, I don't need to look at any further, but we're going to show you a couple tools that will help you look at the malware a little bit further here. So in a previous video or previous section, we have downloaded a lot of the tools when we're set up our malware analysis environment here. So one of the tools that we have down is Kappa. And so Kappa is Mandiant's tool where you'll run a command line where it'll use Kappa to analyze the malware sample. And again, just like Malcat, it has a set of rules that it'll fire off, which then helps us understand malware's capability. And in this case, we'll go ahead and I'm going to run a PowerShell window here. /cap.exe raton exe. And so we run the command. Kappa is now conducting its own analysis. And in a few minutes here, we're going to see how it'll show up. And as we can see, it's already looking at it. Yeah, there it is. And so already, again, great tool by the folks at Mandiant here. It has the MD5 hash as well as SHA-256 hash. All right, which we've just shown we throw in a virus total, and we can see that it also Kappa also maps to MITRE ATT&CK, which no. When it and so these are all the techniques that it has identified, and here I'll even turn on the Wi-Fi here just so we can show what that looks like. MITRE ATT&CK. It's going to take a minute. Let's just MITRE ATT&CK framework. I'll go back to virus total. I'm going to control. I'm going to check the history here. Virus total does have its, and so basically what MITRE ATT&CK is, it's a knowledge, it's a base it's a website where they framework that is accessible, where it has lots of techniques, tactics, techniques, and procedures that threat actors will utilize. And well, if we go through, for example, virus total, right? Virus total already maps the MITRE ATT&CK for us. So where it will execute the scheduled task, modify via the registry to maintain persistence, as well as check for virtual sandbox, so conducting its own system checks. All right, this is pretty helpful, as it does map out the tactics, techniques, and procedures. Right, it is a framework, but it gives us an idea of how how attackers get into environments and then do essentially whatever they want. In this case, now I'm gonna turn off the Wi-Fi real quick. Well, the host, set the host only, as just a safe practice. And yep, behavior, self-deletion as well. Yeah. So now we're gonna, if I wanted to look at malware further and just look at the strings like we did with Malcat, you can use something called Quantum Strand. Right. This is in beta. It is, let's just say, a much deeper version of what Floss is, where it'll pull the strings, it'll look at it, it'll spit out information that it's able to decode, because some malware have some base 64 encoded strings in there. At which point, we'll be able to get the bigger picture. Let's go ahead and I'm going to press Shift, open PowerShell window here. Alright, so Quantum Strand exe Malcat Raton exe, and I do want Quantum to put it in a text file where I can look at it further. it is going to take a little bit, so we'll be right back. Actually, no. I'm just going to let it run and show you how long it can take. And yeah, it is done. We'll go ahead and check it out. Alright. Then this is the text file. Notice I don't, because I'm also recording here. It's not anything that gotta worry about here. I just gotta pay attention to what's right on the left right here. And of course, alright. HTTP. Also ransomware.load. Molvad. Redton Snake, yep. Ransomware load. And also, yeah, let's use Custora. And of course, get entered password, set entered password, yep. So basically getting account information, get message, TCP state, so there's probably some T2 going on as well. Alright. Task scheduler. What we just saw. And with that, I don't really need to look at the strings any further now that I have an idea of what it's going to do. At which point, the sort of question is, where is the C2? I'm going to keep covering that in the dynamic analysis section here, and I'll see y'all there.